It's a bit like Groundhog Day, isn't it? We're talking about it again and again and again. It's called profiteering. It's called racketeering all the way in the fuel supply chain. They can do it. They're unmonitored. They're unchecked. In other essential resources like water and electricity and gas, etc., we have consumer price watchdogs, but we don't have one for petrol and diesel. 37 million people depend on it, drivers across the country. Our commercial heartbeat depends on diesel. And the biggest scandal at the moment is the difference between diesel and petrol, because the cost of buying diesel for retailers is 5 to 6 pence cheaper per litre than petrol. And yet diesel is something like 15 to 20p more on average across the country. Go figure.
And diesel has been deliberately inflated, hasn't it, since the start of this year?
Absolutely right. And not only are the fuel supply chain benefiting, but the government are as well. Since the beginning of the year, we estimate that diesel drivers have paid something like £1.3 billion more for diesel than they needed to. And the government have allowed this to happen because they're enjoying something like £6 to £7 million a day of extra VAT and fuel duty. And they know it's in their hands to introduce a body like Pump Watch, which we've been calling for the last 3 years.
Yeah, so Pump Watch would make prices fairer for all of us. We'd sort of know what we were getting, sort of thing. But you're basically saying we're being fleeced, and deliberately fleeced.
Absolutely. We're being totally and utterly deliberately fleeced. There's no way the fuel supply chain is checked whatsoever. I monitor every single day wholesale prices and retail prices, and every day I get sickened by just how much drivers are fleeced. The interesting thing about this is, inflation came down by a few points to 10.1%. If we'd actually had diesel at the right price, something like we work out 17 pence less on average since the beginning of the year, we believe inflation will be below 9%. That's the sort of thing that the government have in their control. Why they're not doing it, we don't know. But obviously, the biggest reason they're not doing it is because they get a shed load of tax coming in because of the high prices at the pumps.
There's that phrase, isn't there, up like a rocket and falls down like a feather, and that's certainly the way it is with petrol prices, it seems. I mean, they have come down in recent months, but only by about 30 or 40p. And now, as we're talking about this morning, they're going to be halted completely.
Well, out of the 230 countries I monitor, we're still always in the top 5 in the cost of filling up. And there's no need for this at all because, as I said earlier, the commercial heartbeat, logistics, delivery, our internet economy absolutely survives and depends on diesel prices. And why is diesel so much higher than petrol? And the Competitions and Market Authority also seem to be quite happy to allow this to continue. This is true racketeering, profiteering, and it's got to stop.